Alright, hello everyone. That last run was phenomenal. Thank you all so much for hanging out during that amazing run. In the meantime, we have gotten a $45 donation from Charbunny, donating $5 per death as promised, and saying thanks again everyone for joining her on the amazing run. So if you're wanting to match her on that donation, you make sure you get that in. If you want to do $5 for every death, that's $45. But you can also do $1 for every death if that's, more within your means. But either way, thank you so much for that donation, Charbunny. Going towards Shulk as the character for Xenoblade Chronicles 3. We have a lot of fantastic runs coming up with the rest of this day. The first day has just been so exciting and full of great runs, including the run coming up, which is Have a Nice Death, Fresh File by allison8bit. So you can go ahead and take it away whenever you are ready.
Hello and welcome everybody. My name is allison8bit and this is Have a Nice Death. The run I'm doing for you today is Fresh File, so I'm going to start a brand new file over here with no meta progress in here, and we're just going to jump in. Gotta count us down after I skip this cutscene. I'm joined today with Dark Soul.
Hello.
Alright, we're starting in 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, so this is Have a Nice Death. This is a cool little roguelike that came out in March of this year. It was in early access for a few years before that. In this game we play as Death, and we are currently overworked and stressed from our day-to-day job of collecting all the souls. We've actually hired some middle managers that we call the Sorrows to try and help us out with that, but all they've done is create more death, So now we have to talk to them and show them who's boss, quite literally.
Yeah. As you do.
And so let's start with this arena right here. There's lots of arenas in this game. This would be a very common part of what you're going to see in these runs. Up in the top left is my HUD. It has my health, my mana, my different weapons, and it'll have a spot for healing orbs as well. Let's get this little frenzy meter that we'll get to use every once in a while that will just do a lot of damage. And yeah, so that's just like going to be the basic loop. There's also going to be a lot of different arenas. There's going to be some boss fights at the end of each area, and there's going to be 4 biomes we'll be checking out today. And yeah, this is like a roguelike. We should be going through and getting a bunch of meta progress and various things, but we're just going to do this on a fresh file because this is a lot more fun.
Also, we don't have time to build up. Dev is very overworked. They want a vacation so bad.
Yeah, so we'll see if we can get that vacation. And so yeah, every arena is going to give us a reward. And we're going to be taking that and going from floor to floor. The first floor of each area will not have any additional one at the end, but we'll be able to start picking floors that will give us different rewards for completing everything. And there's even a few spots where other cool little things can pop up, so we're going to try to maximize to get as powerful as possible. We're going to be skipping some of the things that we would do in runs to have safety, as this run is very RNG heavy, as most roguelikes will be. But yeah, so we're just making our way through here. We're about to get a curse from Mr. Osha, who is quite lovely. There's a bunch of different skill trees that you see here that we're going to be working with. We're just going to be sticking with the green ones for the most part, as those will all increase spell damage. And spell damage is just going to be outscaling everything else, so we're going to be focusing on that with a certain kit that we're going to try to get. This floor is going to give us Solary, which is our currency in the game, which will be used at shops and upgrade our spells as well. But for now, we're just making our way through. I will be grabbing a little extra currency and stuff whenever I can, just because it makes things a bit safer. We have these charged attacks that are not great later, but they're super good in the early arenas before you get your spells. And it just kind of just cleans everything up super nicely. So you'll see me using a lot of those in the first area, and then they're going to get outscaled very quickly. But yeah, this is a really cool little roguelike. It's only been out for a few months officially, but it was in early access for about 2 years. And
yeah, I think
in that
it
time,
came out back in March.
Yeah, back in March. And the big thing is it had a lot of difficulty at first, and it's gotten a lot easier over time. But it's still a roguelike. You could still die at any point and like lose everything. So you gotta be really careful to run this. I have about 100 hours in the game at the present, so that's really cool. But they keep patching and they're still working on the game. There's some new abilities that show up. Right here is actually something that's pretty new that just came out in a recent patch. Is there's extra bonus like rewards just scattered throughout the bottom of the level sometimes. So I'm gonna be checking that in this first area for a bit. That was really kind. So for a lot of the rewards, they can be kind of randomized. Here we're going to go for equipment stores. We can try to get our kit set up. Usually by now I want to at least have one spell and potentially a different weapon. But unfortunately RNG is not being kind to me here.
Yeah, based on the name, I imagine the other was like a health and or mana upgrade, probably.
Yeah, the last one we got was a mana upgrade. And yeah, the big thing is just the scythe damage just gets outscaled very quickly. And there's our fire arrows, which is a pretty good spell. And with the sword as well. We have the exact amount of currency we need, so we're actually able to get a good thing from the shop up here. End of the area always either has a shop or a control room, except for the final area is a little bit different. I'll explain that when we get there. But for now, we're just going to come over here and we're going to get another curse from OSHA and make its spells cost cheaper. That's like not the best. I'm going to go ahead and re-roll this to see what I get. Also not great. We're just going to take cheaper dashes. We're going to dash a little bit more. We don't want to go into blue too much. Green is going to have most of the things we want, and there's some really good damage we can get in there. But for now, we're just going to be focusing on just trying to get some damage when we can. So this is Brad. This is the first of the bosses. Not a Sorrow. More of a just a guy that does security for us. Unfortunately, I didn't get them to a good spot before this attack. But this should pretty much clear it up. Alright. And that was the first boss. A lot of people actually have struggled in the past to get through that on their first run. Let's go and take this, I suppose. So some of our stuff will have some sort of downside. In this case, the neurosurgeon's an enemy we'll see later. We'll get some lifesteal ability. Not the best, but some of them have literally no downside as there's areas we won't go into, and those enemies can have things that would affect us, but that's something we really need to worry about too much. So this is the break room that we see between each of our areas. There's a fridge and a water cooler. The water cooler has animas, our healing item, and so we'll use them periodically if we need more stuff. And then there's the fridge, which has slightly better things, like 50% damage increase, 50% defense increase, various ways of healing and whatnot. And we're going to use that mostly in the end, or if we really need it at other points. But yeah, so now we're just doing some stuff in the second area. This is the industrial pollution department. And all the biomes are obviously named after things that can cause a lot of death. And of course we're getting healing items, we don't need them, so that's not going to be super useful. But yeah, if there's any donations, now would be a great time for that.
Yes, we did get a $10 donation from Bjordo, who says Allie and Quack, the dream team. Thank you so much for that donation. It is going towards the Kirby's Dream Land upgrade to extra mode incentive, which is a pretty new incentive that has opened up, and I'm really excited to see that one. It has also gone towards a poll for the Octopath Traveler run for the pet for one of the characters in that run, so be sure to select those polls as you get your donations in. In addition to that, I would really like to emphasize just how much of a fabulous charity we are raising money for here today. CARE invests 9 out of 10 dollars directly in their programs. So your investment not only meets immediate needs, but goes towards lasting solutions in 110 countries and counting that CARE operates in, alongside women, working alongside women and girls to defeat poverty and achieve gender justice. So thank you all so much for those generous donations, and do keep them coming.
So while I keep some terror at the very high chance that I might be made to suffer slightly, I did notice you got the bee spell, which is clearly why we are not going to spell sword.
Yeah, so, well, the spell store actually has a different tree for what items you can get. So we actually don't, that won't even help us get the spell we want, because it's really weird how it's set up. But yeah, so this is actually a Thanager. This is a boss that is more of a mini-boss, like kind of like the Elites in Slay the Spire if you played that. Just like a hard boss that if you're not prepared for, they can just really get ya. And this one moves around quite a bit and is very tedious, but the bee spell helps a lot. Okay, the bees are actually going to be our primary damage.
They also home in, which is amazing, as you can already see. More so with that now.
So the cool thing about the Thanagers, that was like the mini-boss that we just fought, you always get an OSHA memo as well as a heal afterwards. So it's like you can take a little bit of damage there and it'd be okay. We went in there with full health. We took 2 hits for 20 each time, but we're still in a very good spot. We still have 3 good heals. I should explain how the healing works actually. So if you look at the health bar, there's like a little bit of black and mostly white and gray. There's actually, you use special heals to heal injuries, and other damage will be more permanent. So you want to be careful about what you're getting hit by. The blue heals will be just the injuries, the gray section, but the other ones are going to be getting the entire health bar to increase our maximum health back up. It's a bit complicated, but it's not too bad overall. So what I got here were 2 important things. I got the Javelin, which is the last item I actually care about. No other weapon or spell is actually useful for me. Javelin's good for both movement and it just deals a large amount of damage. You can just one-shot many enemies up until even to the final area. And there's also the Prismium, which is a special currency used for upgrades and whatnot. We're going to be using that pretty heavily to try to make our bees as powerful as possible. We'll take that to get some healing. There are some temporary stat boost kind of things that happen. In this case, I got something that is like a lifesteal effect, but it might be gone before the boss, so we have to go kind of quick through this control room. This is the area where I'm going to be upgrading my spells. So the bees, I'm going to spend 50. And then I'm going to spend the Prismium. So my bees are already at level 2. That's a huge damage boost. If I can get bees to the max level of level 3, the next one's going to cost 250 and it'll be a bit tricky. But it is possible to get that. But if we get another Prismium, it will just completely skip the need for that. So the dash in this game has iframes, which is super useful here. Ideally, if I can get all my hits in. Alright, most of the bosses will have a little scream that happens halfway through where they're invincible, and they're really kind of a little bit more difficult afterwards. I'm going to want to save my Frenzy for this part of the run, if I can. Unless I have a way of recharging it really quickly. Alright. So that was the second boss for the run overall. There's going to be 2 more to go. Termination generates 50. So Termination is when you defeat one of the enemies. Let's go ahead and take this one. So now we're going to have like a really good combo for pretty much every arena. We'll be able just to spam the bees, and as the bees pick off different enemies, I'm going to get more mana back. So I could just stand there and spam bees, and that will just do everything I need to. I'm just going to buy one of these right now for 10, just to be nice and safe. They get more expensive over time. So the first one costs 10, the second one costs 25, third one costs 40. And I believe if you buy any more after that, it goes up to like 70. So we really don't want to have to try to spend that much on it, but buying 1 or 2 here and there is not too bad. So yeah, now we're in the physical illness department, which is probably the most loathed department, as there's just so much that we can't really have control over, and there's a big old maze. So something I didn't mention is that you can actually grab extra spells, extra various things, and you can just store it and sell it at the shop, which I did with like one of my early weapons earlier. So I'm going to just store whatever the highest rarity one I get as I'm doing this, just for a little bit of extra stuff here and there. But yeah, now you're going to see, I'm just going to be able to just stand here, spam bees, and everything around me should just die.
I'm just watching the mana meter just go to like to almost nothing and then shoot back up and back again. Just, okay, yep. Bees are good.
Yeah, the cool thing about bees is that they're actually not supposed to be in here yet. There's something you have to pay to unlock normally, and in this case, it just gave it to us a little early. Not really sure what the dev's reasoning behind it was, but I think it might just be for the first run. Just give everyone something powerful, see something that you have to unlock later. And yeah, over time you eventually start learning like the general patterns of these, but it's still kind of tricky to figure out like where things are going to be at.
Chat is going wild for these bees. A lot of bee hype in the chat. Let's keep it going.
Let's go ahead and get... How about more damage? Do we like damage? I think we like damage.
I think we like lots of damage before spells. Just considering just how effective these bees have been.
Yeah, this one is an interesting choice here. I could have taken a Prismium. Prismium obviously is what I need to for the next upgrade on the bees, and that would be okay. But it's not super needed, so I'm just going to go ahead and fight another Thanager. Get more currency, get some other things. I think this is a little bit safer. This is quite an annoying one. But you're going to see I'm going to kind of just melt them. I skipped the phase that gets very frustrating where they just fly around and do weird things. Let's see what we got. Well, I'm going to have to make the shop more expensive because I'm not going to hide the user interface. It's very fun.
No, that sounds like it'd be kind of a pain to deal with.
Also, to commentate and watch, you just have no idea what's going on. Like, and I think one of my previous PBs actually had it. So, like, the entire final area, I just had no idea what was like going on, like number-wise. Like, I knew everything that was going on, but like, it's hard to verify. And as there's no auto splitter for this game at the moment, I wasn't able to figure out when the final boss died. I didn't know when to split because I couldn't tell exactly when the health bar goes away when the final hit happened. So kind of funny little thing. Not the best for speedrunning, and especially not for showcasing the game for people who've never played the game. But
yeah, somebody just mentioned that sounds awful for verifiers, and I'm almost certain it is incredibly awful for somebody trying to verify the grind.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we don't really have anything to upgrade the bees, and upgrading the javelin a little bit better is fine, but I'm just going to take this opportunity to go to the shop so I can sell the Myriad of Stars, get some extra money, and just grab an OSHA contract. I will infuse some poison. Infuse is a way that our damage sources can get more damage added. And this is actually going to be the hardest boss that we're going to fight. This is going to be harder than the last area, like, altogether. This is Hector Crank, a large crab. They are here in the physical illness department. And they just have so much range. You could just, like, never really escape them. But with good damage, it shouldn't be too bad. X. Oh. I was waiting for them to do the scream. Alrighty, there we go. now we're already on to, let's go ahead and see what this is. Nothing super powerful, unfortunately. But yeah, we'll just grab that extra health and be on our way. So at this point, we have only one area left, so we're just gonna raid the fridge, maybe grab something else if there's something good. Pure heal for 50, don't mind if I do. And a little bit more defense. Not super needed, but I'll take it. So now we're on to the final area, the Modern Warfare department. This area is pretty interesting. It's a lot of above ground movement, so we're going to be doing this little dash, javelin, dash, and it'll help us stay up as high as possible. And this is the area where the bees, like, just constantly coming back, you just got to really take over. The bees can get a bit confused based off of certain enemies, because there's a lot of enemies that spawn outside of arenas in this area. And we really don't care about much at this point, so we're just going to try to make our way through, maybe grab some more curses, grab some more healing for safety. You're going to see me doing this little thing where I try to drop down by doing a tiny jump and then a downwards attack through the floor. When it works right, it saves some time. When it doesn't, it looks funny. And you know, both those are reasonable things to do, so. But yeah. At this point, it's mostly just more arenas until there's another interesting floor, so if you have any more donations, now would be a great time.
Or anything that you might want to, like, provide.
Yeah, of course, because we have some phenomenal incentives open for the next couple of runs, including an upgrade to Extra Mode for Kirby's Dream Land, which is just a great way to elevate that run, and I would really, really love to see that. We also have a ongoing poll for the character choice of Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Right now, Glimmer is still in the lead with $100, but not that far behind is Shulk with $45, who you may recognize from the first Xenoblade game or from Super Smash Bros. If that's your jam. But there's also some other great characters on that poll, so if you would like to see one of those different characters for that game, even though it's mostly a cosmetic change, it still can really change the sort of feel of the run, do go ahead and get in those donations and make sure to select both a target and a poll for that. And also, if you are just now joining us in chat, we are the Lady Arcaders, and this is the Lady Arcaders Super Showcase, which is an all-women charity talent showcase running from July 6th until the 9th, benefiting CARE. The Super Showcase features a bunch of talented women showing off games that they love, including speedruns, non-speedrun showcases, even sometimes, you know, for some of our track mode showcases, we show things like crafts. So make sure to tune in during this weekend, tell your friend, and give us a follow if you are enjoying this run.
Yeah, I believe I've also seen art showcases, so
yeah.
There are lots of things that show up.
Now we're at a point where we are pretty close to done. We actually just saw a shop was actually in a weird spot. That's because in this area, this is the only spot where both the control room and the shop are not bound to the final section, and you can get both of them. This is actually something that's super important for the more optimized speedrun, as we are going to need both an intriguing floor, which I haven't shown any of yet. We'll see if I can get one for the final room before the boss. But those are just like a free, combat-free floor that we just skip everything. So if we can, we would want to get 3 of those, plus a different shop and a control room at the end of one of these areas. And so it makes the resets quite heavy for this category. Although it's a roguelike, that's just going to happen pretty much all the time. So what you heard a little chime over there. There's actually a little thing that's hiding just out of bounds. There's some locks that are unlocked by using your healing items, the animas. And if you use them in the right spot, it'll open up like a secret area. Unfortunately, we don't really need anything at this point, so it's kind of a bust to grab them. But taking them early could be really good for just general safety if you are looking for them. Take the intriguing floor, even though a control room is free and doesn't really have a downside here. So the intriguing floor in this situation is a little dexterity challenge. He'll say to try to get through without getting hit. We're just gonna dive down and get hit instead. And it takes us to the end. Much easier. And so now we're actually on the final boss of this run. This is Major Plishkam. And we're gonna have to beat them up. Time is gonna be when the health bar is gone and there's the explosion at the end. And I'll be calling out when that is, but for now it's just gonna be the bees just gonna kind of melt the boss.
I'm sure this poor boss is just like, not the bees.
Yeah, I didn't have the most powerful setup of spells, and I'm still just like melting the boss. You can imagine what it would be like with a more powerful build. And time. Alright, so now we've talked to all the sorrows, we have finished showing them who's boss, and now it's time for our vacation, right? We got this little island, this little hammock. We can just, you know, head on over, go take our vacation, right? Unfortunately not. Our vacation has been sabotaged, unfortunately. But yeah, that was Have a Nice Death Fresh File. Really cool run. Pretty good time overall, too. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. If you are interested in this game, had a fun time watching, are interested in trying it out yourself, there's a really good Discord community through the speedrun.com page. And of course, I do speedruns of this and many other things on my own Twitch channel, where I stream most weekdays. Dark Soul, anything from you?
One thing I'll add is that this game is currently on sale on Steam, as part of the summer sale, so you can get it on a slight discount if you're interested in actually buying it. Other than that, I don't think there's anything else for me, at least not currently. Unless you want to make me suffer tomorrow with Dreamland Wine. That's all I will say.
Which chat, you definitely do. Alright, thank you so much for that amazing run. I had never seen this game before, but this was very like exciting and interesting, and I love the art style. So thank you so much for showing it off. It was definitely a good time.
Thank you for having me.
Alright, and with that, we are going to head into another short intermission. Go ahead and stick around with us for the rest of the fantastic runs we have lined up for you as part of the Lady Arcaders Super Showcase 2023. See you in just a moment. Alright, hello everybody. Thank you all so much for being here. We really appreciate all of your support during this event. We have already passed $400 raised for care, which is just amazing. But if you want to keep up with the Lady Arcaders events like this one, you can go ahead and feel free to join our public Discord to get updates on upcoming events. I see a lot of new faces in the chat, which is really cool and exciting. We'd love to have you around for future ones. So go ahead and type !Discord in chat if you'd like a link for notifications on our future goings-on. But with that, this is the end of my hosting shift. Fortunately or unfortunately, you're not going to be seeing... this isn't going to be the last you see of me this weekend. I'm going to be coming back to do some runs, but for now, I'm going to go ahead and sign off and hand it over. And we are also going to be... the stream is going to be going down temporarily, but just don't panic. It's going to be back in about 30 seconds, and we're going to be right back as fast as possible with Haiku the Robot, which I personally am going to be right along in chat with you all cheering on. So see you all shortly, and once again, thank you all so much. Have a good rest of the event, and make sure to hydrate.